Hey folks, welcome to Tyrdom. So today I want to talk about a very special Norse word. Some of you might have heard about it or read about it, but I think this will be a new one for many of you guys. And the particular word is Hamingja. And for those who knows this word, it's oftentimes translated to luck. But I would say that that's a bit misleading, and it doesn't really fulfill the meaning of Hamingja. And I would say that in the Norse world, the concept of luck was not a random thing like it is in the modern world today. It was something much more personal than just randomness of the universe. And if we look at the definition of Hamingja, you could say that I guess the best example would be in some of the old sagas. You can read about certain people having a strong Hamingja, and that meant that they were individuals who seemed to move through life a bit more frictionless than others, and things just worked out for them. And they were also people who tended to lead other people, and just the fortunes and riches seemed to grow around them. We all know those kinds of people, right? And the Norse didn't think of this as just being lucky in that sense. It had a way deeper meaning than that. And they believed that Hamingja was something that followed your character in and outside life. And a person who acted with courage, reliability, strength, honor, they actively strengthened their Hamingja. And a person who on the other hand lived without these traits weakened their Hamingja. So in some texts, even persons who had fallen very far in terms of their personal characteristics were described as Hamingja laus, which basically means Hamingja lös, which then translates to less Hamingja, we could say, something like that. It's not always clear cut when you translate Old Norse to Scandinavian to English, but I think that gets the gist of it. Basically meaning, if you're Hamingja laus, you are a person without fortune, right? And to complicate the matter even further, Hamingja was not just tied to you as a person. I find this quite interesting actually, and I've touched on this before without using this term when talking about honor and courage and standing up for your family. But it could also follow your very lineage and family. And families who seem to be successful over generations were seen as having a strong Hamingja. And meanwhile, families that had some kind of developmental decline seem to have weak Hamingja on the other hand, just like in the personal example that I was talking about. And the actions one generation created bled over to the next generation, I've been talking about this a lot here on Tyrdom because I actually think this matters. And you know, the momentum you build up in this generation will somewhat bleed over to the next generation. And your life could basically strengthen the past, or the path rather, for those who come after you. And to me that makes a lot of sense, actually. And when I've been thinking and investigating this topic, I've looked in Finland as well, and there are some quite similar cases for this. I think that there's this word in Finnish that is onni, and it actually means luck, but in older usages of this word, you can also see that this was something that followed a person or family through generations as well. So it's an old concept that is not unique for Scandinavia, but I would say the whole of North Europe as far as I can see. I could be wrong here. But in the Finnish text you can see that a person that was deemed as successful in life had a strong onni. So it's quite similar actually. But like I always say, different cultures, but a similar intuition, just like I've talked about in the global pagan world. And you know me, I like to bridge these things into today's world as well. And in today's world, I think that most people would say that luck is totally random. And either you have it or you don't. I would, in the searchlight of the Norse that I just talked about, I think that fortune is partially shaped by your life choices as well. You know, there's something to be said for your discipline or your reliability, or maybe your courage itself, because all of these traits are forming your life itself and putting you in positions where luck is more what do you say? The chances of luck increases. Sorry about that. And I think that the more you actually take responsibility, you work on your discipline, your reliability, and being courageous even though you don't feel for it, you position yourself in a way that the world can actually reciprocate back to you in an easier fashion than the opposite, if that makes sense. Which also makes it kind of animistic, if you think about it. And just so happens, it tends to make sense, you know, when you look at things from an animistic lens, at least to me. Let me know if you agree with this. But the harder you so-called try, the more luck seems to come to you. I don't know what you say, guys. And about the responsibility part, I think there's a deeper responsibility here as well, a lesson. And I think that because if everything that I just said is true, that also means that each of us can actually take active responsibility in creating a stronger Hamingja, which I find quite interesting. And if that is true, we can also start to shape the world around us based on our own actions, which, at least to me, also seems very true. So by taking control over our own discipline, our character, and our own willingness to stand straight with our backs, when things become difficult, we can actively strengthen our Hamingja. And by managing your own life, you will strengthen the fortune of the world around you, if you think about it. And that's pretty awesome, at least if you ask me. And I think that the Norse, they believed in faith. And they believed that the Norns spun your life thread from the second you were born up until you died. It was all predisposition for you, so to say. But that didn't make it that you could live not correctly, so to speak. It would affect your Hamingja in life. So the Norse were very, very mindful about these things. And I think that they also understood this, that it was not just important for you to make sure you walked the correct path. They also were very mindful about the Hamingja, since it had a spillover effect on your lineage and for the upcoming generations. So I think that this idea of the Hamingja still contains some truth. So I guess the last words will be something like, take care of your Hamingja. It seems to matter more than it seems, at least to me. Okay, folks, if you watched this far, thank you so much. And for you who like what I do here on Tyrdom, leave a comment, like, and all that jazz. And also consider becoming a channel member if you want to. But I will still be posting. And yeah, let's talk again soon. Have a good one. Tyrdom out.